Imagine waking up every morning with a fire inside you, a voice whispering, "I am capable. I am responsible. I am the leader of my life." That, my friends, is where leadership begins. Not in boardrooms, not in titles, not in the applause of others, but in the quiet moments when you decide who you are going to be and how you will show up in this world. Too often we think leaders are born gifted with charisma, vision, or influence, but the truth is far more empowering. Leaders are made. Leaders are forged in the crucible of self-discipline, self-reflection, and relentless action. Leadership begins at the deepest level with self-mastery, the understanding and command of your own mind, emotions, and behaviors. It is impossible to guide others effectively if you cannot first guide yourself. Every decision you make, every reaction you have, and every choice you embrace reflects your inner state, and leaders who excel recognize this truth. Self-mastery is not about perfection or control over every circumstance. It is about awareness, consistency, and intentional action. It requires that you confront your fears, acknowledge your weaknesses, and take full responsibility for your life, understanding that your outcomes are a direct reflection of your actions and mindset. A person who lacks self-discipline or clarity cannot inspire trust, create vision, or motivate others to follow, because leadership is rooted in credibility, and credibility starts with integrity to oneself. Developing self-mastery demands a commitment to constant self-reflection, where you examine your thoughts, challenge limiting beliefs, and replace old patterns with empowering ones. It involves mastering emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and regulate your emotions, to respond rather than react, and to create calm and clarity in situations that could otherwise generate chaos. When a leader has mastery over their inner world, they can navigate uncertainty with confidence, make decisions under pressure with clarity, and maintain composure when challenges arise, setting a standard for those around them. This mastery also encompasses physical and mental discipline, establishing routines and habits that enhance focus, energy, and resilience. Leaders who lead themselves first understand the power of intentionality. Every action is a statement of who they are and the outcomes they seek to achieve. They recognize that influence flows from alignment between words, actions, and values, and that inconsistency erodes the authority to lead. By prioritizing self-growth, leaders cultivate the mindset, skills, and habits necessary to elevate those around them, transforming not only themselves, but their teams, communities, and organizations. Self-mastery is also about embracing discomfort, understanding that true growth often lies outside of the comfort zone, and that resilience is built through facing adversity rather than avoiding it. Leaders who commit to mastering themselves cultivate clarity of purpose, a strong moral compass, and the courage to make difficult decisions. And in doing so, they set an example that naturally inspires trust, loyalty, and followership from others, creating the foundation upon which all effective leadership is built. Growth is not a matter of luck, circumstance, or innate talent. It is a deliberate choice that defines whether a person becomes a leader or remains a bystander in their own life. Leaders are not born with an automatic set of skills or an inherent ability to inspire others. They are shaped, molded, and transformed through conscious decisions to learn, improve, and take consistent action. Choosing growth means refusing to settle for comfort, mediocrity, or the illusion of safety, and instead embracing challenges, feedback, and the unknown as opportunities for development. Every experience, whether labeled success or failure, becomes a building block when approached with the mindset of learning and improvement. Growth requires a willingness to stretch beyond what feels familiar, to take risks that might initially feel uncomfortable, and to commit to a path of continuous self-improvement. It is about understanding that your potential is not fixed, that your current abilities are merely a starting point, and that mastery in any area comes from persistent effort over time. Those who choose to grow actively seek knowledge, surround themselves with mentors, and expose themselves to situations that challenge their perspectives, knowing that stagnation is the enemy of leadership. Growth also involves facing inner obstacles, limiting beliefs, self-doubt, fear of failure, and transforming them into fuel for progress rather than letting them dictate your actions. Leaders who embrace growth understand the power of incremental change, the compounding effect of daily discipline, and the necessity of patience and persistence. recognizing that transformation does not happen overnight, but through deliberate, sustained effort. They cultivate curiosity, the drive to explore new ideas, innovate, and adapt to changing circumstances, which allows them to navigate complex challenges with agility and creativity. Choosing growth is an act of empowerment because it shifts the focus from blaming external circumstances to taking control of one's own development and outcomes. It requires resilience, the ability to persevere in the face of setbacks, and the humility to learn from mistakes rather than fear them. By committing to growth, individuals equip themselves with the tools, mindset, and confidence to lead effectively, inspire others, and influence outcomes in meaningful ways, creating momentum that elevates not just themselves, but everyone around them, showing that leadership is not an accident of birth, but the result of intentional choices, persistent effort, and the unwavering belief that you can become the person capable of making a difference. Taking responsibility is the cornerstone of true leadership because it transforms the way we experience life and interact with the world around us. Leadership is not about assigning blame, avoiding discomfort, or waiting for others to act. It is about owning your choice, your actions, and your results, and understanding that the power to shape outcomes begins with you. When a person fully embraces responsibility, they step out of the role of victim and into the role of creator, recognizing that every situation, every challenge, and every opportunity carries within it a lesson and a chance to grow. Responsibility is not merely about accountability in a superficial sense. It is about deep ownership of your mindset, decisions, and behaviors, and the willingness to accept the consequences, positive or negative, that come from them. Leaders who operate with this principle do not wait for permission or recognition. They take initiative, act decisively, and face obstacles head-on, knowing that their response defines the impact they can create. By owning their lives, they model integrity and courage, and in doing so, they inspire trust, loyalty, and followership from those around them. Responsibility also amplifies personal power because it shifts focus from external circumstances, which are often beyond control, to internal influence, which is entirely within reach. A person who blames circumstances or other people surrenders their ability to affect change, while someone who accepts responsibility gains clarity, direction, and the capacity to create meaningful results. This principle extends beyond individual success. It influences teams, organizations, and communities as leaders who embrace responsibility set standards for behavior, performance, and accountability that ripple outward. It requires self-awareness and the courage to confront mistakes without defensiveness, to learn from them rather than hide from them, and to continuously adjust and improve. Responsibility fosters resilience, as those who own their actions are better equipped to navigate setbacks, adapt to change, and persist toward their goals. It also nurtures empowerment, because by recognizing that they are the authors of their own lives, leaders unlock the potential to influence, inspire, and drive transformation in others. Ultimately, the act of taking full responsibility transforms fear into confidence, doubt into decisiveness, and inaction into movement, creating a foundation of trust, credibility, and influence upon which effective leadership is built and becomes the defining characteristic that separates those who merely hold positions from those who truly lead and create lasting impact. Vision is the lifeblood of leadership, the force that gives direction, meaning, and momentum to every action a leader takes. Without a compelling vision, even the most talented individuals drift aimlessly, reacting to circumstances rather than shaping them. A true leader understands that leadership is not simply about managing tasks or people. It is about creating a future that inspires, motivates, and aligns others toward a common purpose. Vision acts as a magnet, drawing focus, energy, and resources toward what truly matters. And it provides a framework for making decisions with clarity and confidence. Leaders who cultivate a strong personal vision begin with understanding who they are, what they stand for, and the impact they want to make, translating these insights into a clear picture of the future they are committed to creating. This clarity not only fuels their own motivation, but also communicates to others why their efforts matter, creating alignment and engagement that drives collective action. Vision is not static. It evolves as leaders learn, grow, and respond to new challenges. Yet its core purpose remains constant: to serve as a guiding light that informs priorities, actions, and the culture they foster. A compelling vision also acts as a source of resilience, helping leaders navigate setbacks, uncertainty, and adversity by keeping their eyes on the bigger picture, reminding them and their teams of the ultimate goal and the reason behind every effort. It enables leaders to move beyond short-term thinking and reactive behaviors, fostering innovation, creativity, and strategic thinking that shape not only outcomes but the environment in which they operate. Moreover, vision inspires others because it conveys possibility and hope, inviting them to become part of something larger than themselves. People follow those who can articulate a future that resonates with their values and aspirations, and they commit their energy, time, and talent to help bring that vision to life. Cultivating vision requires imagination, courage, and conviction, as well as the discipline to translate it into actionable goals and measurable milestones. Leaders who embrace vision integrate it into every aspect of their life and work, ensuring that their decisions, behaviors, and communications consistently reflect and reinforce the direction they are heading. Through vision, leaders transform abstract dreams into tangible realities, aligning intention with action and creating an environment where purpose, passion, and performance converge to produce extraordinary results and lasting influence. Action is the defining hallmark of leadership, the bridge between ideas and results, between vision and reality. Knowing what to do, having strategies, or understanding principles alone does not make a leader. It is the consistent and purposeful execution of those insights that separates dreamers from those who make an impact. Leaders recognize that action is not always easy, that it often requires stepping into discomfort, facing uncertainty, and moving forward despite fear or doubt. Every choice to act, no matter how small, compounds over time, creating momentum that propels individuals and teams toward their goals. Procrastination, hesitation, and overanalysis are the enemies of leadership because they prevent potential from transforming into tangible results, and leaders overcome these by committing to decisive, deliberate, and focused action. Action demonstrates courage, accountability, and commitment, sending a clear signal to others that you are willing to take responsibility for outcomes and navigate the challenges that come with them. It is also through action that leaders learn and grow, as execution reveals gaps in understanding, uncovers hidden obstacles, and provides real-world feedback that theory alone cannot offer. Leaders embrace experimentation, adapt their approach when necessary, and persist until the desired results are achieved, knowing that repeated effort is the foundation of mastery and influence. Furthermore, action inspires those around a leader because people are drawn to energy and momentum. When a leader moves decisively, others gain confidence, clarity, and motivation to contribute and follow. Leadership through action also builds credibility, as people trust those who do what they say and demonstrate consistency between intention and behavior. It is not enough to merely plan, speak, or envision a future. Leadership is proven in the tangible steps taken to turn that vision into reality. Action requires prioritization, discipline, and resilience, because leaders must focus on what matters most, overcome setbacks, and maintain forward motion even in the face of resistance. By valuing execution over mere ideas, leaders create a culture of accountability, results, and continuous improvement that elevates everyone involved. Every great achievement, every meaningful change, and every lasting influence is rooted in action, the willingness to step forward, take initiative, and embrace the work required to transform potential into performance, to convert ambition into accomplishment, and to show the world that leadership is not defined by position or title, but by the relentless pursuit of doing, creating, and making a difference in every moment of influence.